now being recorded.
Hey now.
Yeah.
It's always, I think we're stealing that from Howard Stern, I officially.
Yeah, but we're making it our own because when we say it, it's our own hey now. Hey now.
Well, it's definitely not, there's not like a copyright on that. He hasn't trademarked hey now.
No.
So we can say it all we want.
Right. Hey now.
Speaking of hey now.
Yeah.
So last week we talked about storming Area 51.
Yeah.
And how that was likely to develop, and some ideas we thought would make it better, like doing it in the daytime, and
maybe not
dressing up like aliens to confuse personnel, and also bringing rats along to also further confuse.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to talk about today was what people are actually going to find at Area 51 once the storming has begun. Because I think it's important that people get some idea of what they're going to encounter once this event happens, September 18th at, I guess, still 3 a.m. out in the desert. But we're bringing it all back home is what's going on. That's kind of the idea. We're going to, because a lot of people aren't coming home. Like they won't make it back, after the storming.
Yeah.
But there is some good news.
What's that?
And the good news is that breaching the military installment or installation.
Yeah.
You're only going to spend 6 months in jail and maybe get like $1,000 fine. So it's not that bad. I mean, no one wants to do that, of course, but you'd figure it could be a lot worse. So that might be a fair price to pay for storming Area 51, because not everyone's going to get caught. I mean, some people are going to get shot and killed.
Sure,
but not you, sir, or you, madam. There's a lot of people involved. Like close to 200,000 at this point. Yeah,
and you just you just have to know in the numbers. You'll be fine. So just go and do it. Yeah.
Right. So maybe the first thing they may encounter, at least on the outside of the base, are airplanes, and a few of them being like stealth bombers, which are going to be very hard to see because they're stealth.
Right. Right.
So be careful. You don't want to accidentally run into a really hard metal object that's an airplane. Because you're not going to be able to see it. So it's tricky. I think the way that's going to go down is some people are going to actually run into the plane, and the other people behind them are going to go, oh, look, let's go around. Because they're stealth. That's kind of the idea, which is pretty cool. I like that. But before you actually get to the inside, you're going to encounter some signs on the outside of it. It's going to say restricted area, no trespassing beyond this point.
I recommend ignoring that, though.
And all your base are belonging to us also. Yeah, because that's important, too, because the aliens have already taken over. So they're like hybrid warning signs. Thus, all your base are belonging to us, which is unfamiliar to a lot of people unless they're into old video games. But many people who are storming probably aren't aware of this stuff, so it's good to let them know that they may encounter unusual signs about not going onto this U.S. Air Force base. Right. So, And then there is, we're going to provide some aerial maps of the Nevada test site, which is kind of included in this. A lot of areas, by the way. I don't know if people are aware of it. So several areas.
What do you mean, like Area 45 and Area, 52?
Well, there's Area 20, and there's Area 19, 12, 15, 10, 9. There's Area 1. And I don't know if anyone wants to go to Area 1, but that's an option. Or you can go to Area 30. And at Area 30, there's something called Dome Mountain. Shout out to our friend Adam Dome. Maybe that's right. There's several areas that you may encounter, and we don't really, that's interesting. We don't really know a lot about the other areas. We think we know about Area 51, but there are several areas. They didn't just come up with Area 51 just because it sounded cool. There are areas 1 to 50 as well.
Wow.
And they're all in the same area, right? So that's interesting. Area 51, Area 15. I would suggest that people avoid Area 15 because that is the climax stock testing area, whatever that means.
Ooh!
Yeah. And it's also the EPA test farm, which is also really scary sounding.
Yeah.
The Environmental Protection Agency, it's their test farm.
Wow.
So they're probably putting a lot of toxins in the area to test it out. Test them out. So Area 15, avoid it. It's kind of in the northeast part of the test site, the Nevada test site, which it is good to know. So this is really, I'm trying to be really as informational as possible for all the folks on the Facebook event page. Yeah. Because a lot of them are just going in blind. They don't know. They have no idea what they're getting into. And they should know that this is serious business. Right.
Absolutely serious business. Yeah.
They're going to run into, those barriers that go up and down to let cars pass through.
Sure.
Well, there's one gate where it has actually 2 stop signs where one gate will go up and then you're in the middle of between another gate. So you want to be careful not to get caught between the 2 stop signs because then you're just stuck. You can't really get storm or go anywhere. So you want to make sure that both stop sign gates are up before you go through. Or just get out of your car and walk around the gate too. That's also an option because it's just a road and there's no fencing. You can just walk straight through. Okay. So that's also good too. That may be one of the main storming entrance points. Yeah. If someone's bold enough to just drive a big truck through, then we don't have to worry about the barriers at all.
Yeah, we could do it all Hollywood style.
With like big explosions and people kind of walking casually away from these big explosions. Yeah. Oh, there is another aspect that we need to talk about because it is a military installation that photography is of the area is prohibited. So you might get a ticket like, hey, no photography, sir. Here's your citation. So just be aware of that. You might.
Well, that might add on to charges as well of trespassing. I mean,
it could. So you might, spend 6 months and a couple days. Yeah. So as people are listening to this in the video, it's always interesting to comment about the video that people are watching now when they're watching it because we're recording in advance. But as they're watching this, we're seeing some personnel from Area 51. These, clean cut, well scrubbed folks at computer terminals, and they look pretty easy to take, actually, to tell you the truth. Yeah. They don't look like they're used to storming. They look like they're really more like desk jockeys, and they're staring at monitors, probably flying drones over the Middle East, I would think. It's probably what they're doing instead of really concentrating on Area 51. So that's good.
Nonsense. They're reverse engineering alien technology, and that's what you're going in there for, guys. Don't forget that. Markets is part of the government.
Well, I was a Fed. It's true. That's true. I'm not denying that. I did at one point work for the federal government. But, you know, part of the reason I'm able to access this information is because of my former top secret clearance,
Right.
which I really don't like to talk about because I'm not allowed to talk about it because I don't want to disappear. You know, I want to stay living my life in, you know, Southern California and making YouTube videos and so. But, you know, that being said, I do have some inside information, kind of like inner circle stuff.
Yeah. Inner circle.
That's right. So, on June 18th, 1997, a guy named John Freeman went to Area 51, and that happened. Yeah, he got in an SUV and drove over there, and they parked. Yeah. And he has a phone number. I'll give that out in case anyone wants to give him a call. Yeah. He's got, apparently he still has a pager, which is interesting, but his, and a fax, but his number is 213-819-9443 if anyone wants to give him a call. And because he's already been there, he may have some inside information about the best way to do the storming. So give him a call. Right. Yeah. And also you can write your congressperson and let them know that you're going to be storming. That, because, well, I don't know. Is that a good idea?
Probably not, but why not? Why not tell the people to do that anyway? Since they're storming.
Yeah, so write your local congressperson, especially if you're in California, Nevada, or Arizona, or one of the adjoining states, and let them know that you are interested in storming and you would like funding to help the storming, and maybe like write like an appropriations bill so that it could be like a defense fund, I think, partially.
And we could have National Storm Area 51 Day every year, annually. You know?
Oh, like a proclamation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
I like proclamations.
Maybe one of the features of the storming that people might find to be interesting is that the RAAF, they captured a flying saucer on a ranch in Roswell, and I think that's part of what we were talking about during our Explains Everything segment. The sausages came down, and
I remember them.
Yeah. So
still have trauma about those sausages.
I think that has something to do with it.
I have traumatic sausage disorder. They came down, and
they came down, and they said, "Hey, we need probing instrumentation and relaxation drugs to relax the sphincters of the victims, or not the victims. I think that's the wrong way. The subject. We'll call them subjects.
Why not?
So there's some nice footage of mesas and cliffs we're seeing now that are really lovely in the area, and then we've got some paperwork with a lot of redactions, letters that people have blacked out information on. So those are the things we want to obtain during the storming. We want to get all the documentation. Open those file cabinets, dump them out. You got to dump all of that stuff. Yeah. Bring big duffel bags so you can like throw papers and documents in there. Yeah. The other thing that people are going to notice is that there are going to be a lot of trailers on the site too, and I personally don't know who lives in the trailers, but I have a feeling that's something that is going to be of interest to anybody. Maybe they can like hook up one of the trailers to a big truck and drive one away for further examination. That would be I think a good idea.
Yeah, because you should have souvenirs from your storm.
Right? Can you imagine? Can you imagine like you come home and, hey, wow, what's that? Oh, that's the trailer I got from Area 51. And there's perhaps there's an alien in there. You don't know. You don't know. Yeah. Yeah. And so this really ties into the fake moon landing somehow too. I'm not sure how that works, but I know that that has something to do with it. So maybe the people can also search for documentation about the fake moon landing when they're storming Area 51 too. Yeah, I think it's important.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you're going to get into this area, right? And then there's going to be a lot of landing strips and planes and some, but really mostly what you want is under the ground. So you have to figure out where that is. It's important.
Oh wow, under the ground.
Yeah, because all of the areas connect underground, and it's all connected.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of storming to do, guys.
There is going to be a lot of storming underground too. It's so maybe people should divide up into teams, kind of like Scooby-Doo style, where where you don't all go in the same place. You divide up, and then you look underground, and we'll look up on top, Velma, kind of like that.
Yeah.
I think there should be somebody named Velma coming along too, just in case.
Agreed.
We need smart lesbians. They're the best.
Yeah.
I just have to say that.
Uninterested.
Controversial.
In the hot, perfect guy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, we do have a Fred.
Oh.
We have a Fred. I don't believe. We'll have to look and see if there's a Daphne in the area who could take part. I think it'd be cool to have like 4 people dress up like those characters too, because that would bring extra legitimacy to the operation.
And also it would be an excellent disguise for the guards too. They wouldn't know what they're seeing.
Oh
Aliens
my gosh.
and Scooby-Doo, it would really confuse them.
Right, and at the end they would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those meddling kids. That would be so fun.
It's Old Man Rivers from the Haunted Amusement Park.
Exactly. Wouldn't that be funny if it were just a big hoax?
Yeah.
And there really weren't any aliens. It was just like people dressing up like that just to spook people.
Yeah.
And make money.
Good idea.
So speaking of meddling kids, recently, I guess yesterday or today, it doesn't really matter when because it's hilarious whenever it happened. But there was a mom who was arrested because she tied a kiddie pool to her SUV and drove around with her kids on top inside.
I mean, holy mother of great ideas.
I mean, I will show the footage here as we're talking about this. There's a white SUV with an inflatable kiddie pool on top of the car. You can't see the kids in there, but they're in there. And it just made me wonder whose idea this was. If it was the kids had a great idea to like take a ride while at the same time being in the pool.
Right.
And then mom just said, okay. That's how it happened.
Yeah, but because if it was the mom's idea, she's got like the wildest imagination of an adult.
Yeah, I would have liked it to have been the kid's idea, but it was the mom's idea. Unfortunately,
oh boy,
she drove into town with the kids in the car, and drove to a friend's house for some reason to inflate the pool. And then after the pool was inflated, she tied it down to the top of her little SUV and had her 2 little girls get inside the pool on top of the car to hold it down on the way home.
Wow. Wow.
Maybe it wasn't even tied down. That's the amazing thing. If it was just sitting up there, it looks like it was just sitting up there. It doesn't look like it was tied down at all. It was just sitting up there, sliding around on the top of the car. That's pretty epic. I mean,
That's
Mother of the Year
fucking
award
amazing.
for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Can you imagine if it had slid off, like, and it just been like coasting down the road, like, oh my goodness. And then people would see like these two little girls sliding down the freeway in a inflatable pool.
Yeah.
Waving as they pass by. All very excited. Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
This is
but also like
the real world.
horribly irresponsible. Just like terrible parenting on every level.
It is. In fact, storming Area 51 is a better idea than putting an inflatable pool on top of your car and having your kids get in to hold it down. It's actually a better idea.
And that's not saying much, but yeah.
It's not saying much at all. Well, you know, I did kind of, I was pondering the idea of getting into an even worse idea, but I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure if it segues into it very well. Well, you know what I'm talking about.
No.
No, I'm talking about the whole Epstein thing. I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff that could be said about all that stuff, but maybe it's already been said.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I don't even understand what's going on with all this. I mean, I do understand that very wealthy people can make their own rules, but
it doesn't even seem like that to me. It seems like someone else just fucked off on it all, you know, and just gave him a sweetheart deal.
Well, the deal was like amazingly ridiculous. So back when he was non-prosecuted for child rape, right? He was given a 13-month sentence.
Right.
And so what he was able to do was spend 6 days a week, 16 hours out of prison, and then go back at night to sleep like it was a hotel, and then he'd stay like the whole day on Sunday. So he was never really in jail. Like he just was sentenced to a crappy hotel for a year.
Right.
And the rationale was that because he had to quote unquote work and support his family, but you know the mechanic guy isn't gonna I don't know what he did. I don't know what the mechanic guy did. He stole something, whatever. He stole something from the store. A TV, perhaps. He stole an expensive TV, and they're like, okay, mechanic dude, you are going to jail for a year, and then he would just be in jail for a year. He would be able to get out to work.
No,
it's crazy.
That is ridiculous. That is beyond ridiculous. And
in a way, that's more ridiculous than what he's done. Like it's not okay. What Epstein had did was worse than just about anything. In fact, it makes me think like because child molesters and child rapists are so despised in jail and prison, was it so that he wouldn't have to face his fellow inmates because they would kill him? You know what I mean? Like
he was already segregated. Trust me, he was going into special housing unit every night anyway. So,
but in his own cell, like he never had to associate with any of the other inmates.
No,
not even the special guys. Like he didn't have to see anybody. So it's so puzzling, and I think the implications are pretty great as this kind of gets further uncovered. I think there will be a price to pay for several people. ironically, not George W. Bush, who was president when he was prosecuted.
Yeah.
It was like middle of 2008.
Yeah.
And I heard that a few people were like trying to implicate Obama in this, right? But he wasn't president yet. So
right.
He didn't have anything to do with this guy. Bush didn't have anything to do with this guy. It was Clinton and all his gang and the Hollywood set, those executives, the British monarchy, right? And Trump and a number of other people, Chris Tucker of all people, like just fucking weird. Like,
do you think that? Okay, so every time that Bill was on the plane, there were initials of underage girls. So, are you implying that Bill fucked underage girls? I mean, are you saying that?
Oh, I'm not saying it. I'm saying what we need to know. We need to know what happened. Like as a country, as a group of. We need to know like what the fuck was going on there. There's something else that's like popped up that was really bizarre. This Miami businessman guy.
Yeah.
He was supposed to organize like a calendar girl party, right? With so we got these 28 women. I guess they were of age, right? But 28 bikini model types to go to a party, and it turns out it was the women and Epstein and Trump, and that's it. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, I thought this was supposed to be a party. He's like, yeah, just the two of us, Like, so he was disgusted, right? He's like, that's incredible when you get like a pussy wrangler, right? Who, to have these girls go to a party, and that's bad enough, right? It's bad enough. But then that dude is disgusted because he realizes like, oh, it's just for some two old men.
Yeah, right? Right?
Right? Like, holy shit.
But the only reason that was probably bad to Trump was because he felt like he was being set up, which is the other part of this, which is that apparently there are tapes, right? And there are tapes of celebrities doing things with people. Because that's how... I'm pretty certain that's the deal. I'm pretty certain that he taped everyone. Or he had cameras in rooms.
Well, they found a bunch of footage, compact discs, like DVD stuff, and that it hasn't really been disclosed what's on those. If it's pictures or video footage of individuals or people doing stuff, like we don't know yet. Yeah, we'll probably find out. But it's just so like. It's so easy to brush off the idea of these giant, wealthy pedophile rings, right? Because it's just something that no one ever wants to think about. And how could that be? And I don't know anyone like that, and I don't ever want to know people like that. Do they even really exist? But they do exist.
Yeah, but also, just to be clear, this is our first real view at it. We didn't really get a view with the last go-round with Epstein, and we've been waiting. We've been waiting for something like this to happen, because we've all known. I mean,
it's true. But then you hear other things, like other groups, other people that are kind of debunked, and what it does is
it dampens it. Yeah,
it dampens it. Yeah. So you don't really, and you get, people get numb to the idea. Yeah. So,
but like also there was, with that whole thing that came out in England about Jimmy Savile, the BBC, Rolf Harris, all of those things, Gary Glitter was also, I mean, I think about this a lot, Marcus. I think about, when I was 13, my dad took me to a taping of Top of the Pop.
Okay.
You know the show Top of the Pop?
Sure. It's just like the, American Bandstand of England, right? I get it.
Right. But it's like been a traditional thing that was on BBC every Thursday night, weekly, for decades. So when I get there, Dad can't come in and watch any of the bands or anything because it's only 13 and 14-year-olds allowed in there for taping.
Oh, wow.
And then I think about who was presenting, you know, and how Rolf Harris presented and Jimmy Savile presented.
Oh, wow.
And, like, this was just a hotbed for pedophiles.
Interesting.
And for everything bad that was going on. And it was every Thursday this was going down. And, like, you think about, like, this is like a big fucking thing. And it never exploded in England when all those stories came out. And that dampened everything, too. You know?
Right. Right. But then when you think about it, the whole concept of grooming young men and women, teenagers, for like stuff like pop stardom or movie stardom is the same thing. Like
it is the same
it's
thing.
Not
it's
necessarily
exactly the same thing.
It doesn't necessarily get to like the point of sexualization, like in reality, where the the producer or whatever, the financer guy is going to want to fuck her, right? But close enough. Like it just like it's the titillation idea is always there, and it's broadcast out into the world like, hey, look how sexy the 16-year-old girl is. Like, and so it's weird because no parent like would say they would want their child to be exploited like that. But when people come with $1 million checks, people's minds change. Yeah, and it's sad, but that's a reality that money can buy that kind of corruption and does every day.
Absolutely, it does all the time. Yeah.
So
and one
hopefully,
of the biggest businesses in America currently is the underage sale of minors, and that's going on. It's big business here.
Oh, sure it is. The other weird thing that happened is that the former prosecutor who prosecuted Epstein, Alex Acosta, who's now the labor secretary of the current administration, he just had a press conference indicating that he wants to cut the child trafficking prevention budget, these grants that go to other countries to prevent, to help prevent children from being trafficked to the United States. He wants to cut that. Yeah. So and he's saying that at the same time this is all going on, it's just so weird that it's so out in the open. And that's that seems to be the tactic in a way. Just don't hide anything. Just say it. And don't take any responsibility. Don't make any apologies for your former actions. Just be that blatant, and people will be so stunned that they won't know how to react.
Right.
Wow.
Yikes.
That's cheerful.
Yeah.
It's important.
It's probably, in my humble opinion, it's probably the most important thing. Because there's a bunch of guys who have been playing really big ball for a long time, and they've also been doing some heinous shit. And we don't know about it, but we have suspicion. And we have suspicions about, major people. We don't know the full extent of this. Yeah. And it's probably so deep, it's ridiculous.
It almost makes the stuff we do with troubled teens in the troubled teen industry pale in comparison. It almost gives me hope that we actually can make inroads on the, I don't even know if we call it a lesser form of abuse.
Right.
With institutional facilities that rip parents or kids away from their parents with their parents' consent. But generally speaking, they're not getting fucked in the back room and it's just like, whoa, like if we can't.
I mean, that is happening. That is happening, though.
It's happening.
It is child trafficking, and it is torture. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying. There's a whole dark shadow industry going on that we can't see with these kids. I get that.
Right.
I get what you're saying.
Right. It's like okay, this is more obvious. Like the wilderness camp, it's there. People know what's going on. There's
and I mean, like
not a whole lot.
Society,
it's like there's not a whole lot people can like
could
really
actually
do.
Society could actually choose to fix this, whereas this other thing is just a fucking societal nightmare. Because clearly there's a bunch of guys who have fetishes that are just absolutely unacceptable. You know?
Right.
And I don't know how that can be fixed. And I don't know how many people have taken part in that, Yeah,
well, I guess hopefully it just sounds bizarre to even say, but hopefully we're going to find out.
Yeah.
And that will help because people will be more aware. If only that. Like that, people are now aware that they're, who specifically the monsters are. I mean, there'll be others who pop up, of course, but let's clear out this current crop at least. Yeah. So that we can sleep better at night knowing that, your 15-year-old daughter isn't going to be approached by a nice lady who is going to bring you to a giant mansion and impress you and give you money, and then suddenly you're giving naked massages to some 60-year-old dude and then blowing him. Like, can we not do that? Like, can we not have that happen, please?
Can we just stop that, please? Because that's really fucking unacceptable.
It's not okay. But what is okay, you know what's okay?
Yeah, what's that?
I'll tell you what's okay. That this has been the 45th episode of the V2V podcast with Shorts and Aurelius.
Hell yeah.
That's okay.
That's pretty okay.
Yeah, and I like to tie in with, 45, and we're kind of talking about Trumpian things, and he's the 45th president, so there is like that weird tie in there, which is cool. I like to have that.
always brings me back to Jim Carrey or something, or like John Cusack and his elevator thing.
All right. Well, that was interesting.
All right.
Jesus. You never know what you're going to get with this stuff.
No.
Oh my God. No. So subscribe and like. Oh, that's right. We were going to ask people to do a particular thing. So what we want people to do is downvote the video.
Yeah.
Subscribe. And then hit the notification bell. But make sure that you downvote it instead of thumbs up. So let's see how many.
If you got this far, we're going to figure out if you got this far, because we want you to downvote, and that's how we'll know. Yeah, because we don't get a lot of downvotes. Like we get a fair amount of upvotes. Yeah. So if you've gotten this far and you liked what you heard, or didn't like what you heard, just give us a thumbs down, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can continue to receive all of our content. And also, you should give us money on Patreon too. You should give us all your money on Patreon. Yeah, really. Do you like $100 a month? Yeah, you can afford it. Yeah, no problem. Maybe Jeffrey Epstein should donate to our Patreon. I think that would be like a good line of I don't know, like a act of goodwill. I don't know. I feel like all of his money belongs to some other people, and they're probably quite young. Cool. Oh, well. But yeah. All right. You're right. Well, some of it is his own money legitimately, so he should give a lot of that money to us anyway, because he owes society, and we're part of society, so
You should start paying back society through the podcast. I think that's cool.
Yeah,
because we'll do better things with that money than he would.
We certainly would.
All right, that sounds like a great idea. So Jeffrey Epstein, give us your money.
Yes.
All right, until next time.
Bye.